So, hi guys. We are here to talk about our explorations in Humanism Hangzhou. Yeah, that's it. And we went to Region 1, which is, yeah, you'll see it later.
So our first trip was really exciting, and yeah. So
Okay.
this is Region 1.
And when we West Road, we turned right, and then we arrived at this area. So, not the first, but one of the longest stories that we've collected is from this old lady. And although we have heard negative comments about the G20s from other interviewees, like, oh, I can't go out and I can't buy anything because our shops are closed. But this old lady, she was really positive towards the whole G20 thing because she thinks, oh, it doesn't matter for us because it's really good for the country and now more foreign tourists here and we can make more money. So this actually tells us that, because this is a very old lady, so we can tell how the thought of do what is best for the country, not for yourself. So this thought has influenced a lot on the elderly population of China. However, because we haven't received similar issues from other interviewees, so we can guess that this thought has now been not so publicized.
So the second story is basically about a delivery man. Yeah. So China has witnessed explosive growth in internet-based food ordering and delivery services. And during the past few years. So when we stopped at a milk shop and a delivery man was picking up the food for customers. He said that there are little demands of takeouts during G20 time, which makes him feel really happy because he said that it's a toilsome job. You need to race against time to deliver food as quickly as possible so you can get more orders. And sometimes the work can be really, really challenging. Work late at night can be really scary at sometimes. Once I received a midnight order, he said, while I was walking toward the end of the corridor. A man suddenly appeared by my side, which freaked me out. Later, I realized that it was a mirror. So from my point of view, I think that delivering food is a really, really hard and difficult job. We should really understand their working and their jobs. And sometimes when your takeouts are late, you may be really rude and impatient about those stuffs. But I think you should really give an extra understanding to them and appreciate them. So I appeal everyone to give more understanding to them. Yeah, it's a really pleasant job. So I say thank you to those staffs.
There was a shop owner sitting outside his food shop when we approached him and asked him about where he went and how he thought about G20. He said that there were almost no people coming to the shop, so he was willing to go back home without any subsidy from the government. He also says that community life in the area has not returned to normal yet because some of the shops are still not yet open. Business is still not very good for him, but he thinks that G20 is good for Hangzhou and Hindu citizens. From this, we can see that he accepts G20 grudgingly because it is good for the country, even though it is not very good for him.
So we also interviewed the street cleaner, and to him, the concept of G20 was very new, and he didn't even know what was going on. And when we asked if he noticed anything differently over the past few days, he didn't. And all changes are made that, which is really normal. For example, he got to work in different places, which happens all the time. So this tells us that G20, although it looks very important to us, some people might not even care about it because it doesn't affect them in any sort of way. So yeah.
And so here's the conclusion. I made two graphs that shows the situation we met in the first trip. And we interviewed 11 people about the question of did you stay in Hangzhou during G20? And 55% of them stayed and another 45 of them left. And this shows that the number of interviewees is really small and there are more locals in the area. But like the result may not be that objective, but it also can show that the amount of people who left Hangzhou was not as serious as how the Western newspapers stated. The old citizens in Hangzhou mostly just stayed at home as we interviewed. And for people's attitude towards G20, like 20% of them give us a really positive response, and another 20% of them only think that G20 have some bad influences on them.
Okay, so the second outing that we went is a totally different area, which is this street over there. We were supposed to go to one region, but during the process we got lost and we were fighting over which area should we go, the same one or a different one, so we ended up just staying here because the lack of time.
And next one is a really long story, so hope you guys can be patient. So in the coffee shop, I chatted with a young shop assistant, and she told me that she's from Jingde town. This is the cafe. So I asked that where does she from, and she said she's from Jingde town, which is known as porcelain capital because it has been producing pottery for 1,700 years. And you can see the pictures later. And she went back to her hometown during G20 because the coffee shop closed during that period. And I asked her that why she left Hangzhou. Is the government told you to? And she said that the shop closed because the milk need to be imported from Australia. But like the logistics at that time has shut down. So the milk cannot be imported from other places. So the shop must be closed down. And she said that there are 3 ways that she can go back to Jingde town from Hangzhou. One is by plane, one is by bus, and one is by train. But she chose bus because she said that traveling by bus or go back to hometown by bus is a really popular way of going back in China. And she also said traveling by bus is one of the most popular transportation here. And in China, almost all major cities are equipped with developed bus transport system. Bus transport is the main choice in urban and suburban areas for its economy and convenience. The intercity long-distance bus is another option chosen by great numbers of people due to the extension and development of highways in China. All the Chinese cities have coach stations which can usually found at the city's railway station. And the long-distance buses running to almost all the Chinese cities and running to almost all the other Chinese cities, especially the cities nearby, often depart at a certain interval. The operation time usually is from early morning to late at night, with seasonal variations in different cities. And from practical speaking, the bus tickets are much cheaper than train fare. So she chose use bus to go back to her hometown. Okay, and during G20, when she go back from her hometown, and when they are entering, go back to Hangzhou, and when they are entering the downtown of Hangzhou, she met a thief in the station. And I think it's really ridiculous because like during G20 time, a man, like a thief, he has the nerve to steal stuff in front of those police. So I think it's really ridiculous. So from our personal experience and observation, the conclusion for the G20, the big topic, is that a big proportion of shop owners didn't have many customers during the G20 period. So most of them closed down their shops and went back to their hometown without any subsidies. And G20 doesn't really affect most of the locals residents in the area we interviewed. And G20 doesn't really affect them. They think, like, most of them think G20 is good for them because it brings a lot of good influences, such as like the pollution in Hangzhou, like the sky becomes cleaner or something like that. So I think most of them think G20 is a good thing. And however, I think some old people didn't know about G20 at all. So that's like the biggest observation that we make, because we thought like everyone in Hangzhou should know about G20, but some old people they didn't know.
Okay, one thing that I just realized is that even though we have read some newspapers that that stated that, for example, like 2/3 of the population had left because the government told them to, but during the interview we found out that it's not necessarily the case because most of the people that we interviewed are actually not going home because the government asked them to, but because they think it's not convenient or there's no need to stay here because shops aren't functioning and they just want to go back home, take this opportunity to visit some places that they might never have the time to. So I think this is one of the mistakes in the newspapers that we see. Yeah, so for the humans of Hangzhou, we went to Bagua Field, and this time we are not collecting stories about